There was a young trainer named Marcus who thought of older members as a waste of time, especially that quiet man in the corner. Grandpa, just stay at home, he thought. But that day, when the old man pulled something out of his bag, Marcus's world was turned upside down because that medal was given only to world champions. Marcus Chen was 26 years old and saw himself as the new face of the fitness world. A UCLA graduate in sports science, with 50,000 followers on social media, he worked at Elite Fit Gym in Los Angeles. To him, the gym was for the young, strong, and ambitious. The elderly? They were just obstacles, misusing modern equipment and ruining young people's motivation. Every morning at 6 a.m., he would see that old man in the corner. Frank Williams, 68 years old, gray-haired, medium height, and a quiet man. Every day, in the same corner with the same routine. He never spoke to anyone, just minded his own business. To Marcus, this man was a mystery and frankly an annoyance. What's he even doing here at his age? Marcus thought. Frank's workouts were slow, the weights were light, and there seemed to be no progress. But what bothered Marcus the most was Frank's calm, self-assured manner. He behaved as if he had every right to be there. One Tuesday morning, Marcus watched Frank again. The old man was getting ready for the bench press, but he only put 135 pounds on the barbell. Marcus's clients lifted twice as much. "Hey, Frank," Marcus called, walking over. "Maybe we can add some more weight? I mean, if you want muscle growth, you need more challenge." Frank looked up, his eyes glimmering strangely, as if he knew something but wouldn't say it. "This is enough for me," he said calmly. Marcus shrugged. "All right, but if you want results—" "Marcus," Frank said with a curious authority in his voice, "sometimes the best results are invisible." That answer unsettled Marcus even more. Who did this old man think he was? Days passed, and Marcus grew more impatient with Frank. Especially in front of young clients, he was embarrassed by Frank's presence. When filming a fitness influencer video, having an old man moving slowly in the background didn't look professional. This gym is for young professionals, Marcus thought. He should understand that. One Thursday morning, Marcus couldn't take it anymore. Frank was in his corner, following the same routine. Marcus walked over. "Frank, can I talk to you?" "Of course." "Look, this isn't easy to say, but maybe there are places better suited for people your age? Places with programs designed for seniors?" Frank paused and turned to Marcus. There was no anger on his face, only disappointment. "You don't know me, Marcus," he said softly. "Oh, that's true, I don't. But I'm thinking about what's best for the gym, for our younger members' motivation." "Motivation?" Frank's voice shifted. "Marcus, do you even know what real motivation is?" "Of course I do. I'm a trainer." Frank shook his head and went back to his workout, but Marcus couldn't forget that look in his eyes, as if he was guarding a great secret. That afternoon, the gym was buzzing with activity. A local TV channel had arrived to film a documentary about former Olympians. Marcus was thrilled. This was a perfect publicity opportunity for him. As the cameraman and reporter toured the gym, Marcus boasted about the modern equipment and training methods. Just then, Frank was working out in the corner. Marcus felt embarrassed. "Maybe let's not film that part," he told the reporter. "It's just, a regular member." The reporter noticed Frank. "He looks familiar," she said. "I think I've seen him before." Marcus frowned. "Impossible, he's just an old member." The cameraman chimed in. "He does look familiar. Especially his posture and that walk." At that moment, Frank finished his workout and began packing his bag. But the zipper got stuck and some items spilled out. A water bottle, a towel, and then a gold medal hit the floor. Shiny, heavy, and engraved with words that froze everyone. "World Heavyweight Champion, 1978." The reporter gasped and rushed over. Are you Frank Williams? Frank quietly picked up the medal. I used to be. The world heavyweight boxing champion Frank Iron Fist Williams? Marcus's jaw dropped. It couldn't be. That old man. I had a 15-year professional career, Frank said calmly. 54 fights, 51 wins, 3 draws. World champion for 3 years. The cameraman swung the camera toward him. This is incredible. The legendary Frank Williams is here. Marcus was stunned. That old man, the one he dismissed, was one of the greatest boxers in the world, and he had told him to stay home. Frank, the reporter asked eagerly, why didn't you ever mention it? Why train here like this? Frank looked at Marcus. Because some people judge just by appearances. They don't understand that true strength has nothing to do with age. Marcus's face burned. I didn't know. Of course you didn't, Frank said. Because you never asked. You only assumed the reporter pressed on. Why do you still train? Because being a champion isn't just about the ring. It's a lifestyle, discipline, and it never ends. Frank glanced at Marcus. This young man told me to leave because of my age. Marcus's world collapsed. In front of everyone, it was revealed that he had disrespected a legendary world champion. Frank, I'm so sorry. If I had known... That's the point, Marcus, Frank said. You didn't need to know. But you did need to be respectful. The reporter asked, what's your advice to the younger generation? Age is just a number. True strength comes from experience, discipline, and never giving up. This young trainer is strong, but he hasn't yet gained wisdom. Wisdom comes with time. Marcus was ashamed. Frank, I'm truly sorry. How can I make it right? Frank looked at him. By learning. By not judging people by appearances. And by accepting that the elderly have just as much right to be here as anyone. After the camera stopped, Marcus approached Frank. Frank, will you teach me real training? The way you know it? Frank smiled. Are you really ready to be pushed? Yes. Then be here tomorrow morning at 5:30. And Marcus, bring boxing gloves. The next morning, Marcus showed up at 5:30. Frank was waiting. First lesson, Frank said, respect. Not just for your opponent, but for everyone in the gym, because you can learn from anyone. Second lesson, real strength is not showmanship. It's inner discipline. Third lesson, age is not a barrier. It's experience. That morning, Marcus endured the hardest training of his life. Every move, every piece of advice carried Frank's 40 years of experience. At the end, Marcus was exhausted but enlightened. Now I understand, he said. You weren't just working out. You were setting an example. Exactly. And now you will too. Because a true champion isn't just the one who wins in the ring, it's the one who learns respect in life. From that day on, Marcus became a different kind of trainer. He treated older members differently, listened to everyone, and most importantly, stopped judging people by appearances. And Frank? He still trained in his corner, but now everyone knew he wasn't just some old man. He was a living legend. And he had given his greatest lesson, not in the ring, but in a quiet corner of a gym. Marcus went to Frank every morning after that, because he had learned that true education comes from age and experience. And sometimes the greatest teachers are the quietest ones.